Hello, I'm Nick Nasuti for Electric Public Communications Department, July 1990, and this is Did You Know? This year, Cape Cod is once again New England's summertime haven for sun worshippers and tourists. But did you know that the Cape's own Canal Electric Company has been a real hotspot for uncommon activities during the month of July? On Tuesday, July 24th, a powerful midsummer storm disrupted service at Canal Electric in Sandwich when lightning struck nearby tie lines, cutting power to 160,000 Cape and Vineyard customers and causing Canal Electric's generating system to trip offline. While no injuries were reported in relation to the storm, the outage closed businesses east of the canal and caused massive traffic tie-ups throughout the area. Coincidentally, our cameras were at the Canal Electric plant preparing to shoot a training video when the events occurred. Forced to shut down our own production, we switched to battery power and filed this report. As you can see, most of the activity at the power plant is situated here in the control room, where we spoke to some of the personnel who are trying to resolve the problem as quickly as possible. We have the chief engineer at Canal at this moment. His name is Joe Cooligan. Joe, please tell us what happens here in the event of a breakdown like this.
Well, right now, our people are trained to take care of all of these emergencies, and we muster up extra personnel to come in and give us a hand. But when we take the trip, we have 2 diesel generators that allows us to operate the equipment necessary to bring the 2 units to a safe stop. We maintain oil pressures, we maintain turning gears and that type of thing. And right now, they've just finished closing in the 345 kV system from Auburn Street into our switch yard. And gradually we just take it one step at a time, further and further along. And very shortly now we'll be energizing our reserve station transformers on Unit 2, which will allow us to start some of the bigger motors and hopefully get that unit on the line within the next hour and a half or 2 hours.
We are speaking with Harry Harum, who is the watch engineer at Canal. Harry, could you give us an update on the situation?
Well, apparently there was a fast-moving storm went through about 2:30, 2:45 today, and at about 2:45 we lost Unit 2 due to a stuck breaker, faulty breaker, when we lost the 342 line. At that time we were operating number 1 at full load. We took that down to about 200 megawatts to try to keep it on the line. We were operating at that time on 1 breaker, and apparently we were isolated from the system at that time. We tried to keep Unit 1 on, but by approximately 3 o'clock we had to trip Unit 1 too. Well, at this point we believe it's due to the storm. Yeah, we haven't got all the details. The electrical people haven't analyzed everything and so forth, but as far as we know, that's what the problem was.
The massive power outage drew attention from local and Boston media, many of whom made the first Cape-wide blackout in 2 years their top story.
There are 2 units here. They're both in the process of being started. Unit 2 should be on within the hour, and Unit 1 will be on later on this evening. It will be phased into the system.
Do you anticipate any further problems as air conditioners and stoves and things like that come on?
No, I don't think so. I think we've been able to take good care of that. We will be looking at the lines in this area to assess any damage that might have happened today with the storm and making those repairs as necessary.
So right now, except for Wellfleet and a couple of small areas, most of your customers have service.
That's correct.
All right, thank you very much. John Farnham from Commonwealth Electric. Right now, they are making the repairs. The customers are back in service. And we'll stay down here for a while to update any information that comes along. Live from Sandwich, outside the generating plant, this is Charlie Austin reporting. Now back to you, Jack and Liz.
While it was estimated it would take 4 to 5 hours to begin feeding the electricity back to the Cape, Canal Electric engineers had most of the area back online in less than 2 hours. Even before Tuesday's showdown between man-made and natural electricity, Canal Electric was operating at only about 75% capacity. This not because of a whim of nature, but because of equipment failure. See, on July 5th, one of 6 ceramic insulators on a transformer outside of the canal facility failed, and the transformer exploded. Gary Main, engineer for Electric in Wareham, explains what happened and described the task of removing a 200-ton transformer for shipment and repair.
What occurred was a failure within the transformer that resulted in an explosion within the area and a resulting fire. that was extinguished by the deluge system designed for this purpose. What we are now looking at is the concrete pad where the transformer was originally positioned. As you can see, the area around the pad has been excavated out. This was done to comply with environmental concerns that require that we remove any spilled oil. In this case, it was a transformer oil that spilled into the containment area here. However, we did have to remove the soil that was saturated with oil. As we look up onto the building, you can see the black soot marks from the oil fire. It was a rather large fire, although it was contained and extinguished by the deluge system rather quickly before any further damage was caused. The unit was removed from its original position and moved on to a large low-bed trailer by the Hallamore Company. They're a rigging corporation and specialize in moving heavy equipment. The transformer was then moved over to a pier near us, and from there it was loaded onto a barge for shipment to a repair facility in Philadelphia.
This transformer failure is the second major transformer failure that we've had since the plant opened up in 1967. We hope to bring it back by barge, and now that we know barge is feasible for unloading and loading at the canal with the equipment that they presently have, we'll be looking forward, in the event we have to bring heavy lifts in, to utilize the waterway instead of the roads and the train beds.
Fortunately, this July has not been an example of normal operations at Canal Electric, and despite all the recent problems, all systems are up and running smoothly. For Did You Know, I'm Nick Nasuti. Thank you for joining us.
Most of the day, and then they track to the east and the northeast, as you see noted by that blob of green there on your screen. So they pretty much escaped much of the Cape. Just a few showers over Cotuity's Falmouth, but even just a half inch as you head toward Ellisville and even a trace at Beach Point. So really not much affecting the Cape itself, but those slow-moving thunderstorms caused much havoc over those two areas, Bridgewater and Middleborough.
And a lot of lightning, we should mention as well.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Ron. More than 170,000 people across eastern Massachusetts are beginning now to have electricity returned to their homes and businesses. The blackout struck the region at about 3 o'clock this afternoon when a lightning storm swept across the Cape. Lightning hit area power plants, knocking out traffic signals and setting off false alarms. Electric's John Farnham is standing by at the Canal Electric plant with Lori Solinger. And Lori Solinger is there to give us an update on the situation. Lori?
Greg, as it stands now here at the Canal Electric plant, Unit 2 will be up and running within a half an hour. Unit 1 will be running by tomorrow morning. Now, on the Cape, as it stands now, areas of Wellfleet and Hatchville are still without power. What we're being told now is that lightning did not actually strike the Canal Electric plant in Sandwich. Lightning did strike transmission lines from the New Bedford and Plymouth area. Those lines feed to Sandwich. With me to update the situation right now is John Farnham. John, what exactly happened?
Well, we thought at first that we'd had lightning strikes here at the plant itself, but we found later, after some further assessment, that we had actually had lightning hit first in New Bedford and Plymouth, taking out the transmission lines, and then it hit actually here in Sandwich. With the transmission lines out, the power from the plant really had nowhere to go, so emergency procedures took over and the plant was shut down.
How many people are still without power and where?
Well, we have about 200 in the New Bedford area, 200 in the Plymouth area as a result of isolated lightning strikes. We have areas of Hatchville and Wellfleet that are out, according to Dick White, the district manager here on the Cape, and the latest information I have. I don't have the actual numbers, but we're probably talking less than 1,000.
What has to happen before they have their power back?
Our crews are out there working, and they'll work right through the evening getting the people back on, and I'm very hopeful they'll be back on by early evening.
Are you still importing electricity at this time?
Yes, we will continue to bring electricity in from the New England power grid, but as these units come up to power up to their generating maximums. That power will be phased into the system, and by tomorrow morning we'll be supplying the Cape area from these 2 units.
Did the plant suffer any lasting damages?
Well, we don't think so. Actually, our priorities are to get our customers on first and then to assess what the damage is. Tomorrow we'll be looking at the lines, we'll be patrolling, we'll be looking at the equipment on and around the plant to see if there was any damage from the lightning. If there was, of course, we'll repair it.
Okay, thank you very much, John Farnham from Canal Electric. As we know now, as we said, customers in Hatchville and Wellfleet, Plymouth and New Bedford are still without power, but almost all of the 160,000 customers on the Cape have their power again. At the Canal Electric plant, live from Sandwich, I'm Lori Solinger. Back to you, Greg and Nina.
Thank you, Lori. And just repeating, in total, less than 1,000...